All right. So I want to talk about, some questions that our audience might have because it's really common to have a lot of doubts, especially because we talked about quite a bit of things that you should already be familiar with, but it's easy to get, kind of sidetracked into understanding them anyway. So first question, how do I handle extensions for my tasks or jobs? So if I'm understanding this question correctly, extensions may be like, there's a due date and there was an extension filed, at least in the United States, you can
Yeah.
continue something a little bit further down the year, right? In a couple of months. And I'm sure that's kind of something similar that happens in Canada, correct?
No, we don't get
You
extensions.
don't get extensions?
No.
Oh, there you go. So that's nice. You don't have, your clients have to just do it now. They have to get stuff completed. So
Different due dates based on what type it's done, but there is no extensions.
there you go. Well, that's probably would be nice for the US markets because I'm sure it does become a little bit of a headache to do extensions, right? I've worked with clients that mentioned to me that they have a lot of extensions yearly and they actually automatically put clients on extension because of whatever, if whatever thing happens and they didn't put their client on an extension, then a lot of trouble comes up. So I also have, on the other hand, clients that say, "Oh, I don't do extensions. My clients is just, or we do it or we don't do it," right? So I think it's part of how you manage your business, but there's one thing that you can do. You can include a stage for extensions, or you can create a whole pipeline called extensions. Or number three, you can use a feature that is called job statuses. This is actually relatively new. And wherever the client is sitting on the stage, you change the status of the job to extension and it'll just sit there until you change it or until you create a trigger to change it. So we'll talk about that as well because that's a little bit more advanced, features. So we'll talk about that shortly. So there's many ways you can do that kind of, management for extensions. Let's go to the next question. Do I need to use tax dome organizers instead of my tax softwares? It's up to you, right? Um, I've had clients that use, for the time being, their tax softwares organizers, and some completely 100% went over to TaxDome. Some said, I want to use TaxDome only for new clients, and my old clients, I'm not going to send them organizers. I'll keep them where they were before. So, um, organizers, what do you think about that, Leonard? Is
I
that
put
something that
everything into TaxDome. I wanted one portal, one location. My billings there, my organizers are there, forms are there, questions are there. That way they only have one place to look.
that is exactly what I would suggest. Now, the reason why some clients would say, well, I don't want to hassle my clients into filling out this, form that they've already filled out. Yes, but you only have to do this once. It's a kind of a transitionary
Mm-hmm.
task that you have to do. And yes, maybe your clients will have to fill it out again from scratch. However, remember, TaxDome has that autofill feature. So as long as you send that organizer next year, the same template, not a copy of it, not a different template completely, but the same template that you can keep updating. Um, the autofill feature will work its magic, which means it'll automatically fill out on your client's behalf every single time. So it's just kind of like that. Do I want to give my clients that hassle of filling in that out? Well, sometimes it's good because you might have some outdated information
Oh,
for that
absolutely.
client, right?
And that's
And
why that's why I tell my clients every year. They say, "Well, why do I need to fill it out again?" It says, because I don't know if you have another child. I don't know if you have a, you've moved. I don't know if you've changed your email address, your phone number, got rid of your landline and only have a cell. I don't know that information unless you tell me. And most people aren't thinking when they make a major change, I have to phone my accountant and tell them.
Exactly. It's not something that's a
They're not
priority
high
in
on
their
the
head.
priority list that way. So,
Yes, exactly. So again, to answer that question, it's up to you. Ideally, this feature is an amazing feature at Taxon. We highly suggest you do transition over to fully utilizing Taxstone for the organizers. But again, that's your decision, right? All right. So next question. My team struggles to follow up on pending tasks. What's your recommendation for improving that process? I guess I kind of want to ask you this, Leonard, because you, as working with live clients, are having to deal with tasks yourself. Is there a little bit of a recommendation that you can provide for us?
well, I just have it so that all my tasks are in the one location so that when I come in the morning, I look at my inbox plus to see if there's anything new that came in. And then I go to the screen that shows the current tasks that are assigned to me. And as well, now granted, most of them are assigned to me, but I do have another employee. So I also look at not only my tasks, but everybody's tasks
Right.
just to make sure that something isn't getting left behind, or if it's still there and it's still there tomorrow and the next day and the next day, well, maybe there's a reason for that, but maybe I should make sure that they're just not phoning the person because they don't want to talk to the person, or they're scared to talk to the person because the person's going to be mad or angry. Because no matter what, we have really no control over the response or what the answer is going to be. But a lot of people like to get mad at the middleman.
That's true.
So if you know their response is going to be angry, sometimes people avoid talking. That's why I like to look at everybody's stuff as well.
Yeah, that's a great part about, looking at the tasks in Taxdome. Not only can you hyper focus on yours, but for the rest of the team, because they might not be on top of some things, or a hiccup down the road. You might have updated a task, and before you updated it, a client went through that stage and it just didn't get assigned to anybody.
Yeah.
That can happen. So you'll catch something that says unassigned. And if nobody received a notification for it, it's just going to be hanging out there, right? And nobody's going to catch it. So that's actually essential part of the testing that needs to be done when you create a pipeline.
Yeah.
Is did it get assigned to the right person as I want it to, right? Because you as the firm owner are, the master of how you want your process to be.
Yeah.
So if it's not happening how you want it to be, that's where we need to make the corrections, right?
And I also made a pipeline that was just either CRA in Canada's case, or the IRS, if they've asked a question of a client, or if the client has asked a question, I made a task job and a pipeline just for those, so that when it comes in, it creates a task for it that's assigned to whoever is assigned to that person's account. And that way it automatically, any questions that come in are there, so that they don't get, because I could have 500 sheets of paper on my desk. I don't have to look for the one that's there. It's automatically in another pipeline, all the questions that do come in,
Right.
that aren't related to an existing job that's on the go.
Yeah. Thank you for suggesting that. It's a good idea, having a separate pipeline for that. And remember, if you do have separate pipelines that still have to do with each other, you can always move jobs from one
Yeah.
pipeline to another. That's really, really
Yeah.
easy to do. So don't think that you're stuck, that you created a job in one pipeline and you're like, they should be going to a different pipeline soon. You can really, really easily do that. And it's, going to the Kanban view, and
Mhm.
that's probably the easiest way, but you can still change that in other views. And
That's the way I do it. I found that was the easiest.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is the easiest. All right. And let's see. Let's look at the last question. Why would I create reports instead of just exporting the list of items from any page directly? So that question is saying something like, like let's stick to tasks, for example. Right now, that's what we're talking about. You go to your task, you go to workflow, you click on tasks, and you can export that whole list. And then you can just use Excel to kind of generate, a report maybe. But that's a lot of work. I wouldn't want you to do that when Taxum can generate the reports for you. You can
Yeah.
quickly go to the reporting section, and you can even type into the AI, how many jobs were active for my team member John last week, or how many jobs were active with the tag new customer or business or whatever. And that way you can start learning, and the AI can start learning as well what you are interested in generating, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, buy Excel. I don't want to struggle. I just want an AI to give me what I want. So that's a really nice thing and feature to kind of play around with.
Yeah, I want as least amount of work as possible to have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. That's ideal, right? All right. So